Oh, hello, viewers. Good to see you all. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, wherever you're tuning in. So it's so nice to tune with you again today. This is the Stellar Woman Magazine, and I am the editor in chief of the Stellar Woman Magazine. Stellar Woman Magazine is here to bring you thriving women's stories, knowledge, and experiences so that you can tap into that knowledge, make a change in your life and thrive. We believe if we change our women's lives, we shall be able to change families, communities, and the world at large. We are here to reduce the pain that comes as a result of just not knowing, and also help women to change perspectives, to actually recreate their stories by looking into other people's lives and seeing how they can actually see themselves and recreate their own life. So we are here to move light. We move light using knowledge because we believe knowledge is power, or at least its potential power. It has the ability to change your life because when you know, and you act differently just because you know. And I think Oprah Winfrey, every time she went to Maya Angelou, she used to ask, oh, this, she used to come say something about her not being in a position that she regrets. And Maya used to tell Oprah, now that you know, you will do differently. So that is the power of knowledge. It makes us do things differently. So this is our second session, and because we are talking about knowledge, and what better way can we start by recreating a peaceful mind, a mind that allows us to actually be able to thrive. The mind is an asset, and this is being a mental health awareness month. Stellar Woman Magazine is here to ensure that you thrive and you tap into the knowledge that can help you actually thrive, especially the knowledge that is connected with the mind. So last Friday, we had the opportunity to bring along Dr. Catherine Jackson, who talked about several things. I hope you acted upon at least one or two things and that you have changed. I remember she told us we can only change, we can also just focus on changing one thing, and she believes that would change your life. But I wanted to also highlight something that she noted among all the things that she talked about is that if you feel that you need professional help, please go out and seek that professional help. And do not, you don't have to judge yourself, just go and get that help. And I want to emphasize, you are not alone in this endeavor to improve your well-being. Take action, please. So today, this Friday, the 27th, we are very fortunate enough to be having Patricia Marlin here. Patricia, welcome. So
Thank you.
Patricia is a senior lecturer here in the UK, in London, in foreign languages. But Patricia is also a mindfulness practitioner and facilitator. She has been practicing mindfulness since 2008. And I have to tell you, I started in 2019 and I got excited about mindfulness. And you can imagine if it's just 2019 and I'm excited about mindfulness and what it has done to my life, you can imagine what Patricia has to talk about her own journey, which is since 2008. That's quite a long time of having a breadth of knowledge. So Patricia does a lot. She was also a course leader in the community of Interbeing here in the UK. She's also a facilitator at London Siga. She practices mindfulness from the practice of Thich Nhat Hanh. I hope I'm saying it right. Who is actually a Buddhist, and he's a Zen Buddhist monk, and he was nominated for a Nobel Prize. He was also a friend to Dr. Martin Luther King, and he's also the other thing, he was an activist. Actually, he noted that he passed away in January of this year. So Patricia is going to be expanding on the knowledge. If you are already aware of mindfulness, Patricia is going to be just adding to that body of knowledge. And if you're new to mindfulness, still Patricia will be giving you that bit of knowledge to allow you to start on this interesting journey. So I have to welcome you again, and I hope you're excited as I am to learn from Patricia. So she'll be expanding on her own knowledge and her own experience of mindfulness and on what she's doing for a lot of people here in London. So welcome, Patricia.
Thank you, Stella. Thank you.
Good. It's good to see you, and I hope that your Friday has been good as mine has been good. I want you to start by telling our viewers what you do, what Patricia does, and how you started on this journey of mindfulness, and how it has benefited you today in your life.
Yeah. Oh, that's already a big topic. So first of all, yes, thank you very much again. And I'm also very excited to talk about this topic and to be with all of you today, because it's really a topic close to my heart. I'm really passionate about it because it has transformed my life. So I started in 2008 being interested in this word of mindfulness. What is mindfulness? And I started actually with a silent retreat, a 10-day silent retreat. And it completely changed my life. It was the before the retreat and the after the retreat. It was the first time in my life I was just stopping. I was just doing nothing. Because nowadays, that's the problem of modern times, we are not human beings anymore. We are human doings. We are always doing something. And even when we talk to each other, it's always a question, oh, what have you been up to? Or what have you been doing? It's really about how are you? Because the how are you is all very much answered with fine, thank you. People don't go deep. So the mindfulness is really to bring this kind of bigger life, this expanding, because also we tend to live our life only in our mind. We are really in the present moment. We think about the future, what I have to do, or the past, ruminating about what I have said or what I should have said. And so mindfulness really brings us to the present moment. And it has changed my life because I tend to be a little bit of an anxious person, and I suffered from depression. And now, thanks to the practice of mindfulness, I feel much happier, I feel much grounded, I feel calmer as well. And I like what Stella said as an introduction, to have a peaceful mind. And this is also what mindfulness helped me to have a more peaceful mind. We can't hear you anymore, Stella.
Thank you very much for expanding on that, Patricia. Thank you indeed. And I would like to encourage our viewers to send in any questions that you have, or even comments. You're allowed to add to what Patricia has said. But if you have any questions, start bringing in your questions. And I have to note that we are actually streaming on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. So we shall be, I'll be looking out for all these questions that could be coming from the different platforms. So I want to ask you, Patricia, how is the mindfulness from the tradition of Thich Nhat Hanh? What is it about, or how different is it from other practices of mindfulness?
Yeah, that's a really good question. Okay. And his name is Thich Nhat Hanh, but it's you.
Thank you.
Thich Nhat Hanh, yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so Thich Nhat Hanh, as you said, is a Vietnamese Zen master, and he's seen as the grandfather of mindfulness in the West. So he's the one who actually brought mindfulness to the West. Because of the war in Vietnam, he was in exile, and he set up this mindfulness center in France, and he started this teaching, and this teaching expanded and expanded. And the reason why I love his teaching, because they are very simple. They are really, and also he's a poet, and he's a peace activist. So he brings also, they call it engaged Buddhism, which is really you don't only sit on a cushion and you meditate, but you react to what's happening in society. So we also go on demonstration. We do things also in the society to help. Yes, not only with the meditation, but also with the practice to bring the calm, to bring the peace, and to hopefully change ourselves, because we always start with ourselves, and help to change the society as well.
Okay. So could I just say that it's all about it, it's the simple approach to mindfulness?
Exactly, because mindfulness, it's a buzzword. No? Who hasn't heard about mindfulness today? Mindfulness here, mindfulness there. So, and the core of mindfulness, actually, it comes from Buddhism. But it has been kind of extracted from Buddhism and it has become something secular. So we don't have to be a Buddhist. We don't have to believe in anything. On anyway, Buddhism, there is no God. It's really it's a philosophy of life. This is what it is for me. So it's a very, very simple practice. It's almost, just breathe and smile or something like that.
It's just almost like breathing. So there we are. Okay. Thank you, Patricia. Now tell our viewers because this is Mental Health Awareness Week. What does mental health mean to you? Because some people do not really understand this perspective. What does it mean to you?
For me, mental health is as important as physical health, or it's even almost more important, because mental health can bring a lot of suffering. And for me, it's very, very important. The physical health and the mental health, for me, it's at the same level. We have to look after our body, the way we eat, a bit of exercise, but also our mind. The Dalai Lama, who is the spiritual leader of the Tibetans, as most of you might know it, he said, a trained mind is a happy mind. So it's about training our mind. And this is what meditation does, is training the mind, training. Unlike everything, meditation is the same, whether you want to play an instrument, whether you want to learn dancing or learn a foreign language, which is my specialty as well. We have to train ourselves. We have to practice. And by practicing, it becomes easier. And also we develop new skills.
Okay. So what are we exactly practicing there? For example, for mental health?
Okay. The practice of mindfulness, it's so mindfulness doesn't mean anything. It's always mindfulness of something. So we can be mindful of I don't know, I can be mindful now because I feel very tired. So I'm mindful of my body being tired. Or if I'm a little bit stressed, I can be mindful of all those thoughts coming and going. So it's always bringing the attention to what's happening in me, but also around me. So the practice of mindfulness is really noticing. That's the practice. Being kind, because sometimes we can be very harsh with ourselves. And also the meditation is to practice because again, we have different ways of meditating. You can meditate with a mantra. Some people do it. You can meditate even if you just bring your attention to whatever you're doing. You can be meditating, whether it's drawing, whether it's cooking, just cooking. If you're just 100% in your cooking, it's a form of meditation. And the mindfulness meditation, usually we use the breath as an anchor. So the breath is always with us. We always breathe. If we don't breathe, it means that we are dead. But how many conscious breaths do we have? Have you been conscious of your breath? Have you been conscious that you were breathing since this morning? Stella, have you had one conscious breath since this morning?
I did early in the morning, but now as you talked about it, I had to really just make it more conscious. But indeed, I did have my mindfulness practice in the morning of fasting as I was heading towards doing my yoga. So yeah, I did.
Good.
Great. Thank you for that. So sorry, let me just say the tradition. Okay. Now, if you look at modern day living, I think you highlighted some of these things, but I just want you to really give us that connection in terms of how we behave and how we can bring mindfulness. If we can just focus on these actions that we are doing and how we can continuously bring mindfulness to improve our mental well being and general well being, anyway.
Yeah, for me, that's so important. That just because in our modern world, in our modern society, in modern times, everyone is busy. Busy is the second buzzword. You have mindfulness, but I think busy is even probably not. The busyness. We are all busy, whether it's at work, with our family commitment, we are always running, and also the busyness comes with sometimes stress as well, being stressed. And I know I can be stressed myself, thinking, oh my God, I've got so many things to do with just this amount of time. This is my source of stress. And the mindfulness is really about, first of all, being aware of it. Because if we are aware, we can do something. It's like pausing. Oh, I'm very busy, or I'm very stressed, I'm very tired, whatever we are feeling, or whatever's going on in our life, just being aware of it and pausing, just the pause, or hitting the pause button. And then, yes, if we can meditate just 10 minutes in our life, only 10 minutes, it changes the structure of our brain. Because most of us, in fact, we react from the amygdala, which is the center of our brain, and this is the fight, freeze, and flight reaction. And this is where we operate. For example, Stella, you say something to me, and I will react straight away. I know it won't happen, but just if anyone says something to me or anything, or I don't know, I drop my phone on the floor, I will go, I will swear. So this is the react, and it comes from here. But if we practice 10 minutes a day, we develop more the prefrontal cortex here. And this is kind of the taking the time, just reasoning on, standing back. So instead of reacting, we will be responding to the situation. And this is what mindfulness can bring. One of the things mindfulness can bring to our life in modern time. It's just this kind of this pause, okay, this is where I am. And then from this is where I am, we can change. We don't have to be stressed. We don't have to be anxious. We can recognize it. We can also embrace it. For example, I did a lot of practice for me with my depression. When I felt depressed, say, oh, hello, my little depression, you're here. Instead of pushing it away, because this is also how we react. We tend to, what we like, we want more of it. And what we don't like, we push it away. So it's also getting out of this push and pull. It's just, okay, this is what it is. This is what it is. For example, I'm waiting for the bus is late. I'm not going to be stressed because the bus is late. There is nothing I can do. I can just wait. So it brought a lot of peace in my life just by being aware of all those things.
That's so right. That's very good. It's more of maybe I could add to that, it's acceptance, really. Just accepting what it is. I think, I don't know, you're talking about resistance. We resist a lot. And I think resistance, even with me, it brings more pain. You can actually start to feel it in parts of your body, and all because you refuse to accept certain situations and you're in the fight with them. So if we can just let go and, the bus is late. Okay, it's not changing my life. I'm not going to, the world is not coming to the end. That's what I tell myself, that the world is not going to come to an end because the bus is late. I'll be fine. So
exactly. And I love, Stella, the fact that you related the fact, the body with our thought. We create, actually, apparently, most of our disease, maybe all, I'm not sure about that, but they come actually from our emotional reaction. And if we are stressed for too much, so we create some, any kind of diseases in our body. So that's also, mindfulness is really good also for lowering the stress, but also healing, even lowering high blood pressure, or sleeping better, or pain as well. Pain control can be used also with mindfulness. So there are many benefits of mindfulness.
Lots of benefits. So you can hear viewers, and I hope you're tapping into this knowledge and maybe expanding what you already know. And if you have any questions, we'll be able to take them. I think here Rita has a question. Let's see what Rita is saying. She is saying, what are the best places to seek mental health help from? Thank you, Rita, for your question.
Yeah, thank you very much, Rita. Yeah, I really like it because you are in the chat, you are present, you are interacting. So that's really, really good. And to be honest with you, I don't know because it depends what you mean by mental health, what kind of help. I know for me, I did some cognitive behavior therapy, and it really, really helped me again to be aware of my thought, to be aware of my reaction. It was the first port of call. And then when I was feeling better, I discovered mindfulness and I continued with the mindfulness. So I can tell you for the mindfulness where maybe you can go, but mental health is a very big question. So if you like, you can ask a little bit more, and maybe I can help you better.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. I was just trying to see if there are any questions on Facebook. I haven't yet got any. Thank you, Rita, for your lovely question, but we'll continue as we wait for more questions to come in and tap into more knowledge that Patricia has here to share. If you're just joining us, thank you so much for joining us, and good evening or good afternoon or good morning if you are in the US. So we are here talking about how mindfulness can help in modern day living, and this is all as part of mental health awareness. And this is the Stellar Woman magazine. We are keeping you informed. We move knowledge, we move light using knowledge to empower you to make informed decisions. That's empowerment. So the next question that I have for you, Patricia, is could you give us more examples of any people who have used mindfulness to get more benefits? So apart from yourself, so do you have examples of individuals, depending on the situation they've come from? Some person might think, no, I'm not Patricia, I'm not facing Patricia's problems, and therefore mindfulness cannot work for me. So we have that tendency. You look at someone and you just think, no, that's their world, that's their story, it's not the same as my story. And mine is different, and therefore mindfulness cannot work. And at that point, you deny. I actually remember when I found mindfulness, I told you, I think, Patricia Kapov, I think somewhere in the pandemic, that almost after 2 sessions during my mindfulness training, I was like, this is not for me, it doesn't work. It just doesn't work. And I was willing to put my hands up to just say, I think it works for other people. I've read it works, but it's for other people. It was until I realized that then something came to me and said, why don't you go for your 3rd session? You paid for these sessions, just go and be there. So at that point, I let go of, I think, resistance. I was going in with some form of expectation, and that expectation was stopping me from learning. So I think at the moment when I gave up everything to just go, it allowed my brain to just open up and just receive. And that's when I thought, wow, this is unbelievable. And the whole world should know what mindfulness is all about. So I would like you to expand on using any examples, depending on where some people have been and on their journey and how they benefited from mindfulness.
Yeah, thank you, Stella. It's quite difficult to pick a person in particular, but I've got one. But before I tell you about this person, I would like to say that actually, because I also teach in with the business students. So in order to introduce mindfulness, I looked at the business world with mindfulness. And most of the top leaders in the world, including Elon Musk and also what's the name? The Apple.
Tim Cook or
Yes,
Steve Jobs?
Steve Jobs. Yes.
Steve Jobs. Yeah.
I don't know about Tim Cooks, maybe, but they are all practicing mindfulness. And even, my master, Thich Nhat Hanh, he went to the Silicon Valley. He was invited there and he talked to business people, on tech people. So yeah, many people practice mindfulness for different kind of reasons. And the person I have in mind actually was really benefited from mindfulness is my own mom. And not because she has never practiced mindfulness, because I changed myself. I became calmer. I became kinder. I I was less judgmental. I was more understanding. I Because I transformed, my relationship with my mom became so much better. We had a very difficult mom and daughter relationship together. It was a bit of competition, a bit of criticism. But then, because I was able to step back, I was able to have more understanding, she felt better as well. So our relationship really benefited from my own practice, and therefore she told me, and she appreciated that. So yes, this is what Stella said actually at the beginning of the life. It's if we do something for ourselves, it ripples on our families, on our communities, and I could definitely see it with my mom.
Oh my God, you almost made me want to cry. It's just so good to change your mom's own perspective. As you change yourself, actually, people around you change. They start to see something that is within you that they actually desire. But that was so beautiful, really, really beautiful to see that your mom was able to benefit from your own change. It's really fantastic. Instead of going out of your house to make change and leave the rest of your family to be in the storm, the storms that we create in the chaos. But actually, if we start with our families, I think it's richer, and it goes deeper in benefiting us. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I think with the business school, actually, with the business sector, Google is very good with calling in the Zen mastery individuals. And everyone, I think, in Google almost practices mindfulness. So mindfulness is for you as well. You need mindfulness with this busy world. You have to bring some kind of, you've talked about several things. Judgment, oh my goodness, that's a big one, where we are continuously judging, or someone hasn't done this is that. And then most of the time, Patricia, what I find is that it's within us. The effects are within us. We are judging, but actually we receive a lot of that vibration that comes from the judgment that you're doing. And once I realized that I don't like that, then it's easier for me to drop the judgment, because I don't like what it brings in my body. I just don't like it. So when we are doing all these things, we are actually experiencing that pain that is connected with that negative emotion that we are having at the point in time. So thank you for those the beautiful example, because it showed your vulnerability to actually go into the space that is connected with your mom. So thank you. So how can one bring mindfulness into their lives? So any key practices that we can start on today? You shared with the Stellar Woman magazine. I don't know how many of you have read this, but I'm telling you, I think the Stellar Woman team will all agree with me. This is one of the most beautiful articles I've ever read. Patricia, you took us through an experience. It was an experience. From when you read the first line, you go through the whole experience of how you can connect with food in a beautiful way. Maybe let's first take us through that. Do you remember that article?
Yes, I do remember. Yes. I had a
Could
great
you
pleasure
just
to
take us
read
through
to my.
that? Could we just tap into that for those who have not read the article in issue 2 of the Stellar Women magazine? Yes, I shared it today in some of the platforms for people to actually go back and read it. And for those who haven't read it, to actually just tap into that knowledge. But Patricia, could you start with that? That is more about mindfulness, mindful eating. Can you start with that?
Yes, yes, definitely. Because mindfulness is two things. It's getting, as you keep saying, Stella, is getting more knowledge, more understanding, so we can change our life. But it's also changing our life with what we do. And also, as I said before, it's always mindfulness of something. And one of the mindful practices is mindful eating. Because most of the time, I don't want to generalize, but we tend not to pay attention to the food we eat. And
I
maybe we
know.
are in a hurry. Yes, put your hand up if you're guilty of that. Because we don't have the time, we eat quickly, because I don't know, we think of something, our mind is busy. So yeah, even when we eat a packet of chips, though we put our hands in on, it's almost finished, and we haven't even realized that we have eaten one. Or
That is
peanuts, or
so true.
whatever your guilty pleasure is, or sweets maybe. So the
Wow.
mindful eating is maybe next time you have a meal, I would like just to ask you the first mouthful, just the first one for your first step into mindfulness. You just really taking your time, really bring it to your mouth. You can smell it, you put it in your mouth, just taste it. How does it taste? Just really take the pleasure to eat it. And also connect to where the food comes from, maybe the vegetables from the garden or from the farm, or the rice which has been planted somewhere, I don't know, in Vietnam, or just connecting with the food you eat, and also to be grateful also for it. I think it's something very important, because we tend to take everything for granted. So just being grateful, but just taste it. And then if we forget and we go into automatic eating, that's okay. But just one mouthful, and then stage number two, two mouthful. And even if you start thinking, oh my God, I'm not taking attention to my food, doesn't matter. This moment, or you think, oh, I'm thinking, I'm not making attention to my food. This is when you're mindful. So it's mindful. So you come back to your food.
That was so good. That was really good. And I remember part of the article. In fact, almost I'm tearful. You talked about the sun touching. I don't know whether it was an apple. So it was so beautiful because it was coming out of me, going away to start looking at everything else that is connected around the universe, that is connected to this apple that someone could be holding, or an orange, the sun rays, the rain, the soil. It was just amazing. It was beautiful. It was well written. Please, I would like to tap into that and see how you can have a new relationship with food, especially going into gratitude. You talked about the farmer, thinking about the farmer who has actually prepared that apple. How many times do we connect to the process of the food that we are eating, how it's come about to be in our hands? That is so beautiful. So thank you, Patricia. And can you expand on anything else apart from mindfulness eating?
Actually, just to finish with mindful eating, which is quite interesting, because also if we take our time to eat, if we really taste our food, if we really connect, yes, with the farmer, even with the person who has done the cooking, with the sun, as you say, who has touched the apple, just if we connect with all of that and we take our time to eat and really chew and really, we eat less. And therefore, I know some people who have lost weight by eating mindfully. So that's another hidden benefit of mindfulness. But another practice which I really, really like, and it really helped me when I'm at the end of work, finish my work, and I'm a bit stressed, I'm a bit agitated, I'm going home, is mindful walking. So again, just a few steps. We don't have to do it for 10 minutes, just being mindful of our foot on the floor, and then the other foot, and even being aware of touching the earth, and yeah, kissing the earth with our feet. Just being in touch with, yeah, because we live on a beautiful planet, and again, we're not even aware that we live on the planet. So it's just being in contact with what we call Mother Earth, because the earth is our mother. Everything comes from the earth. So we can kiss it. Also, we can say in our mind, I'm here, now I'm here, I have arrived. So you can have little mantras in your mind just to kind of help your mind to focus. And you can do that just for a few minutes, for a few seconds, just to, and for me, it really helped me to be here, just to relax and ease into my steps.
Amazing. Let me just see what we could have if we have any questions on other platforms. Just to make sure we don't miss anyone's question. So please send your questions in just before we finish. We want to answer all those questions. Okay, let's see. I don't see any. Let me see. Sorry.
For me, it really helped me to be here, just relax.
Let me see. Thank you, Patricia, for the food article. Does mindfulness eating, this is a question on Facebook, does mindfulness eating have something to do with obesity? Thank you. Sorry.
I think partly, not completely, because obesity is a whole other scale. But definitely the fact that we eat too much, we eat too quickly, and also we have what we call emotional eating. So we feel an emotion and we don't want to feel this emotion because sometimes we're not even aware of this emotion. But I know I could do some emotional eating when I'm really, really, really tired. I stop eating when I can't stop. Or I have a glass of wine and then I have another glass of wine. And this is yet not being in control of what we eat or what we drink. And mindfulness can help us just to be aware of it and also to not to go into those habits which are not good for us, but to go into what makes us, what is good for our health and for ourselves. So there could be a link, not only, but yes, there is a tiny link between the two.
Okay, that was a question from Hassan on Facebook. Thank you so much for that lovely question. And I do believe that definitely has a way of controlling the pace and even how much, because if we are actually connecting to the tummy, because most of the people who teach eating, they say we don't connect, like you talked about the fact that if you give me popcorn, I just don't know even the last bit of popcorn, how it is from the beginning to the end, because I love popcorn. I'll just dive in. And by the time I realize I'm finishing popcorn, I ask, but this was a big bowl. What happened? It has all gone into my belly. And that's because I haven't been mindful. And maybe I wouldn't have finished it if I was taking it the way you described it. If I smelt it, if I really connected with it, I would be able to take in more than if I just keep crunching away. So it was beautiful that you elaborated on that. Thank you very much. And I don't know if I have just noticed the way I eat until I have never noticed. That's Rita. She says, I have never noticed. And let me just bring it here. I have just never noticed the way I eat until today. So thank you, Rita. Thank you so much for being able to let us know that this has helped you to become more aware that you need to be mindful with your eating. So yeah, over to you, Patricia.
Yeah, it is very interesting. I could talk for hours about this topic. The other very interesting thing with mindfulness in general, and of course it's related also to mindful eating. Mindfulness is definitely noticing. That's one word, to notice. And the other word is actually kindness. Because the reason why we could be eating too much is because we are not kind to ourselves. And also, too much or too quickly, whatever we do when we eat or not. But if we, and also I know for me, it's when I'm feeling stressed, when I'm feeling agitated, but if I can bring some more love to myself, some more kindness, some more, not allowing myself to be too stressed, I'm taking things more easy. I don't need this overeating or this over drinking. It's When I'm feeling good, I don't do any of that. So I believe, this is my belief, I believe that we overeat or we overdrink or we oversleep or we overdo whatever, too much shopping or whatever we do in our life is because we're not feeling good deep inside. So yeah, the mindfulness is not the remedy for everything, it's not the cure all for sure. I don't want to you to get this idea. But it can be a way in. Because also in Buddhism, what we say that we have what we call the Four Noble Truths. That's really the basis of the practice. And the first truth is there is suffering. This is what you mentioned also, Stella, with mental health. So that's the first noble truth. So it's realizing and accepting and being aware that there is suffering. And we all suffer one way or the other. And the second noble truth is there is a cause of our suffering. Where is our suffering coming from? And the third one is there is a way out of suffering, which is the good news. And the fourth one, yeah, I can't remember what it is exactly, but I think it's the way. The way is how we can get out of our suffering. And this is definitely, yeah, the practice of mindfulness, but also having the right livelihood, the right. Rita also said, I need more practices of mindfulness. And one I really like as well is the mindful speaking as well, the mindful conversation, because this is something also I find difficult. People talking and people not listening, really paying attention to each other. And I love this example, which is if you have, for example, two girlfriends talking about their boyfriends or their partners, or they will each talk about their own boyfriend or their own partner, but they won't talk about mine does this, mine does that, or it's a kind of parallel conversation we have. Or we interrupt each other and we don't listen. So another way of being mindful is also to fully listen to the person. What has the person to say? And also being curious, asking questions. Because most of the time, again, we want to talk about ourselves. You say this, but actually I want to say that. Or this happened to you, but that happened to me. But just the mindful listening and talking is actually what I developed with my mom, is listening, being there with the person. And this is the best gift you can give to anyone, is your listening, is being there for the person. So that's another for me, very, very important practice, mindful practice.
I think, Patricia, that could be. I'm not putting I'm not putting down any other, but I think that is one with human connections. I think that's a practice that we desperately need. And many times you could be talking, I didn't hear you mention this, but I already have an answer. As you start to talk, I already have something to say. The sentence coming after what you're saying to me. So it doesn't matter what you're going to say to me. I already have a response. So there's no listening. But if at all we can connect, and I think you did some work with Iowa Club and you helped us to really work on some of those perspectives. I've worked with women to look in the eye, and one woman I remember, she looked her daughter in the eyes, and she had that conversation. I mean, they practiced that evening, and she just couldn't believe it, how the heart gets connected. And she hadn't done that in ages. There's a lot that you're doing. You talked about food, and I'm going to talk about this because someone recently, I think like almost 2 days ago, was noting that who needs a dining table? No one has time for the dining table anymore. We eat food while standing. So nobody needs to, don't even think about dining table or dining area, because there's no time for that. And I thought, what a shame. The dining table, some of them are just there for, whenever I host, but there's no time for it. And every day it's getting a sandwich and running off with it, and chewing it while you're driving. Rest, you're typing, and I don't know how many people I see doing that. You're typing and eating at the same time. So you can even you really get disconnected to food completely, and you ask yourself, what's the purpose of food? Why are you having it here? So that was beautiful that you highlighted all of those things. But I've just seen this something for you from Facebook, Patricia. Hi, Patricia. That's from Hassan again. How do we deal with not feeling well? Mindfulness seems like a way to either dismiss it or nub it. So there you are. So over to you, Patricia. That's
Yeah,
a question for you.
thank you so much. I didn't get the name of the person who asked the question, but thank you very much
That's
for.
Hassan as well from Facebook. So thank you, Hassan, for your question. Yes.
Yes, thank you very much, Hassan. I love questions because I want to answer or to try to answer your question and your concern. And actually, this is the opposite. Mindfulness is bringing the attention, because we call it mindfulness because we had to give it a name, but we can also call it awareness. We can call it consciousness. It's just becoming aware. So if we are not feeling well, it's being aware that we are not feeling well. Because it's very easy not to be aware that we are feeling well and
Yeah.
keep ourselves busy. I'm not feeling well, so I do something, whatever it is, eating, shopping, cleaning the house, just to numb the feeling of being unwell. So mindfulness can also help you to name it. What is it? How am I feeling now? And also, there are some research saying that people can name only 3 emotions, but there are, I
That's
can't
a good
remember
one.
how many 50 emotions. I can't remember the name.
That's a
Just
good one.
yes, it's the research. People are we live now a life which is so restricted because yes, as you said, no, Stella, people don't have time to eat. And for me, eating, I'm French. This is one of the best pleasures in life is eating. And food is better if you share it with other people. There is really something about it. So yeah, mindfulness is the opposite. Mindfulness brings the attention, is being noticing, but also bring the kindness. For example, what I said before, I don't know if you were here, Assam, is I used to suffer from depression. So I would, instead of being scared, oh my God, I'm feeling depressed. And I was really scared because I did not know how long it will last. I did not know, yes, what impact it will have. So, and I would see the world very, very dark. And so instead of pushing it away and trying to do something, no, really embracing my little depression. You're here, my little depression. I recognize you. You're here. And it's amazing because just by accepting, it's Jung talks about the shadow. So we have what we present to the world, and we have the shadow aspect of ourselves. And the shadow is everything we don't want people to see of ourselves. So this shadow, we push it away. But if we bring it actually to our consciousness, to our awareness, we become more whole. And that's a beautiful experience. Our human experience, our living experience is just taking to another degree, not only work. No, there is a life outside working.
Oh my goodness, Patricia, I think you've hit a number of, I think what they call hard pills to swallow. There are a number of things that we have to accept that we do, and I hope you agree with me, our viewers. A number of things that Patricia has noted that we do that we can start to actually make a change, become more aware. You've used the word awareness, more conscious, really have a perspective, look into your life and see how you can utilize some of the knowledge shared here, whether it's mindfulness eating, whether it's using the breath, whether it's walking, all these perspectives that Patricia has shared and more. But there's also Innocent has also, she's watching, so thank you, Innocent, for joining us. She's on Facebook, so we have more people active there. She notes, I think this is not a question. I will definitely start practicing mindful eating. So thank you very much. So thank you, Innocent, for showing that you have understood and appreciated this knowledge, and definitely we want you to make a difference, to change, use this knowledge to change something in your life, one or two things. You can imagine when you make one change in your life, it changes forever, but you have to be consistent with it. And that's the hard thing, because when you talk about mindfulness eating, and I read it at kind of, so sometimes I find myself all the way to the bottom, and yeah, when did I start and how did I get to the bottom of especially popcorn? I don't know what it is for the rest of you, whether it's chocolate, whatever it is, you need to find out how to be mindful. The thing that I'm so mindful about, which is so funny, is tea. I can't take a cup. I love tea, and every sip of tea, I connect with it. Everything. And I wish I could do that with popcorn, for example. That would be great, because I
But
love
that's
my
already really good, Stella, because it's good that you have that with the tea, so you can build up. It can happen with the popcorn as well.
popcorn. I love my tea. So thank you so much, Patricia, for sharing with us this amazing knowledge. I hope you've all benefited as I have. Oh, sorry, you're still saying. Say, go ahead, Patricia.
Yeah. The very last thing I would like to say, oh, Rita, hello. It's mindfulness. It can be hard also to practice on our own, because today you're listening, so okay, you're going to try the mindful eating. Oh, that's great. Try whatever you can. But to sustain it, this is also what my master says, you need a group of people who practice with you. Because if you have a group of people, you support each other. It's very easy to lose anything, whether you want to go to the gym. If you go with a friend, you will continue going to the gym. If you go on your own, it might be more difficult. I don't know. So yeah, my recommendation will be really find a group of people to practice mindfulness, and you can join what we call it's a sangha. A sangha is just of people practicing together. And because you get the knowledge, you get the practice, you get new friends as well. It's you are on the a path of what did you say? A better life, a better world on a brighter world. So it's also a better life on the brighter life. So if you can, yes, find a sangha, find a group of people who practice together.
Very much so. So there's just been a lot of knowledge. So just go back and replay this particular stream and tap into the knowledge, just in case you've joined us quite late, or if you find that there's something Patricia has noted, has said, and you didn't get it fully, just do the replay. But if you want to tap into Patricia's knowledge, Patricia, tell us, where can our viewers find you? Someone could have listened to you and thought, I want more of this. So where can they find you?
Okay. I live in London, so of course you can find me in London. And if you go online, go to the Heart of London Sangha. And Sangha is spelled Sangha. The Heart of London Sangha. And if you live anywhere in the world, you can go onto the Plum Village Center, there is one in France, there is one in the US, there is one in Thailand, there is one different countries in the world, one in Germany as well. So Plum Village Center, and you have again a list of sanghas. So you pick the one which is closer to you. And this is what I did when I did my 10-day silent retreat. Afterward, I thought, no, I can't continue on my own because I will lose the practice. So I found the sangha. 13 years later, I'm still practicing with them.
Oh, fantastic, fantastic. And just like you, mindfulness really just has been of great benefit to my life. I don't know what I would do without it, really. And Eva Masakazi says also, thanks, Patricia. To practice this, sorry. Okay, she's going to practice this so that she can change her life. So she'll be practicing this to change her life. So thank you, Eva, for being there for you as well and sending across your own comments. So we have been fortunate enough to have you here joining with us and connecting with us. And please put into practice this knowledge. Put into practice this knowledge. There was just so much for us to take away. But Patricia actually made this simpler. Remember, it's awareness, bringing awareness to your life. Maybe that's the simpler word for you. And consciousness might be harder, but I think awareness makes it
And
a little bit
kindness.
simpler. And kindness, yes, and kindness. And for me to say that every time I'm mindful, I don't know, I find it that mindfulness helps me to connect with my heart. And that's it. And maybe that's how kindness becomes automatic. The moment I am mindful, I'm actually going to change my perspective. If it's judgment and I become mindful, everything changes. Then I'm going to be compassionate. It's going to just, I'm dropping the other the other emotion and shifting to a new place, and a place that is more beautiful. So my awareness and kindness, that is what mindfulness is about. So it has been so beautiful tapping into this knowledge. And I believe if there's anything you have to change, and actually I think in the US they are active in changing, bringing mindfulness into mainstream schools, and also they've already integrated it with the army. So this is the power of mindfulness. So do not take it light. Mindfulness is important because many times we are mindless. We have the mind, but we are not actually with the mind. So we've loved your practice and we've loved the knowledge, Patricia. So all of you, ladies and gentlemen who have tuned with us, we are grateful that you've been with us. And for those who tuned into Twitter, I wasn't able to tap into that. Apologies, but we shall be able to get your questions and send them to Patricia, and we'll be able to get your response. So thank you everyone for being with us. It's still Stellar Woman Magazine, and we are bringing you thriving women's stories, knowledge, and experiences so that you too can learn one or two things, be inspired, make a change in your life, and thrive. We want the world to we want everyone to feel full, to live a full life. And we believe that we can do that by using knowledge, by spreading knowledge so that people can tap into that knowledge, utilize it. Women tap into that knowledge, change their families, like Patricia with her mom, change the family, then the community, and then the world at large. So it has been beautiful. Thank you so much, all of you. Until next time, this is the Stellar Woman Magazine, and goodbye from us. Bye-bye. Thank you
Bye-bye.
all.
Thank
Thank you.
you. Thank you,
Bye-bye.
Stella.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everyone. Bye. Thank you, Rita, for your questions on everyone.
Thank you. Yeah.